Alright, hi YouTube, we have a lot to talk about. We've got new patch notes, it's Overwatch Classic, but we cannot sleep on the fact that we've gotten some mid-season patch notes. So this is early morning for me, 9:16 a.m. I'm a little bit sick, my voice is giving out, and I have a headache, so I'm going to turn the volume down. But we're going to go on over to the patch notes and have a quick look at the patch notes. Now, I want to discuss the patch notes further over here. I've reacted to them live last night. To those of you that came down, thank you so much. Let's talk about the patch notes and why I think these are some of the most weirdest, confusing, bizarre, like atrocious. I don't like what you want to describe it. These are really weird. Now, let's get started, okay? So, for tanks, Doomfist is the one that's gotten buffed, right? So, his angle for rocket punch, so rocket punch, the angle required for a wall slam has been increased. This is kind of like a quality of life thing to help rocket punch be a little bit more consistent. This is okay, right? This is fine. Now, Meteor Strike. Ultimate cost has been reduced by 8% and the healing per second while in the air has been increased by 75 to 90. This, I do not like this. This is increasing Doomfist's uptime like crazy. Doomfist is already one of the better tanks in the game. I don't understand why he needed this buff. And the reason I get scared, by the way, before anybody doubts, like dude, Doom is like my second most played character, right? Like look at this. Like in the all modes, Doom is like my second most played character, right? The problem I have with changes like this is usually when a tank gets buffed like this, later on, if they become meta, they get really bad nerfs. Really bad nerfs. And this is what I'm scared because this can potentially make us enter a Doomfist meta, right? Because dive isn't that bad either right now, and neither is Doomfist, right? So really confused and really like, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna enjoy playing with these, but I don't think the meter strike changes were necessary at all. Neither did I think the Doomfist needed a nerf. If anything, the armored tanks needed a bit of a nerf. But what can you do? So moving on, Queen. Now this is the change that made me really upset. For those of you that know, Junkrat Queen isn't the most picked character, and she's countered by a lot of things. She sucks against pretty much all the brawl tanks. She sucks against the new armor. Okay, Kiriko exists and shuts down her entire like passives. Like Zarya exists and shut down her passives. Right? The developers acknowledge this by saying, although she's not the most played, so they know she's kind of a niche pick. Their argument is because Junkrat Queen in the niche pick where she does get played and can work, she has the top performing tank stats at the moment, right? So, like numbers wise, she has the best stats. This is ridiculous because it's like they genuinely forget what they had to do to bring Queen over here. So her jagged blade has become a little bit smaller, and then the adrenaline rush, the healing has gone down, bro. Like now, if she wasn't getting run over by the other brawl tanks before, she's gonna get demolished by them because of the healing going down. And she already sucks against characters like Ryan and Ram, especially Reinhardt. Reinhardt can completely ruin Queen's life. And these changes, it just feels really weird. It's like, why though? You yourself acknowledge that she's not the most played. Like, she's not being played that much. Like, what are we balancing around? Just raw stats? Are we balancing around win rate, pick rate? It doesn't make sense. It just genuinely doesn't make sense. We go over to Mauga. Now, look, I don't like the fact that Mauga is being micro buffed because we'll just end up with Orisa number 2, right? However, to be fair, I'm okay with this promoting a little bit more of a dive playstyle for Mauga. So the overrun cooldown has been reduced from 6 to 5, and his movement speed has been increased by 15% when he's running. I'm okay with this because as long as it's not buffing his damage, we should be fine. Now, will he be a little bit more annoying and can you use him like as a counter dive tank pick? Yeah, you definitely can. I don't think Mauga is bad. It's just like there's certain characters that need to be niche and Mauga is one of them. When they say things like Mauga has been underperforming for a while, it's like, well, we want him to underperform. Like Mauga or Orisa, we want the tanks that take like literally next to no skill to underperform because that at least allows the game to be a little bit more bearable. Because when tanks like him begin to take over the game, it becomes extremely obnoxious, extremely annoying, extremely unfun. Not just for the enemy tank player, but for the other people in the lobby too. Especially since in Mauga's case, you're forced to build around him. So, not a fan. Not necessarily a fan that he did get this change, but I'm a little bit open-minded to it because I'm like, okay, this is potentially harmless. Right? There's like no damage numbers increasing or whatever. Like this is harmless. I'm a very big fan of this change. So Hanzo actually is pretty much back to normal. So Hanzo's got his one shot back. He did pretty much the only nerf that he has is the smaller projectile, but the bow is back. Like the bow feels so good. We were playing it yesterday live and it felt so good. And Dragon Strike has gotten a mega buff. So this is something that we've been asking for years now, and that is that Dragon Strike destroys buildable objects, right? So even if you don't get any kills, you can at least use it to create opportunities for your team to push. Now, like, Hanzo will actually have like a pretty good spot in the game now. I think this is the best place to leave Hanzo, right? He's actually got a unique spot in the game now. Now this is where things begin to get worse. Junkrat. Now Junkrat has been a very performing character in the lower brackets of the game. He's not necessarily a problem where I am, right? And I've been seeing a lot of Rat and Reaper complaints, and I talked about this on stream a few days ago and on my Twitter at AbbyAZK. And I said, guys, like, trust me, like, Rat and Reaper are gonna get nerfed. My problem with the Rat and Reaper nerfs is that they are in the wrong areas of where either of the characters should have been nerfed. First of all, in Junkrat's case, in low elo, spam Rat is the best playstyle, right? A lot of low elo Junkrat players in gold and silver, bronze, they don't understand how to actually use concussion mine that well. A lot of them don't even know that you can do like combos with concussion mine. All they do is they just spam concussion mine into the front line. They spam like the orbs into the front line. My only suggestion that Junkrat needed for a nerf was that you reduce the projectile size, because I've been learning a lot of Junkrat lately. He's actually been one of my most played characters this past week or month actually. And the thing that I've noticed, like, to be fair, like, you guys know I'm always fair to all the characters, there was a lot of times where even I felt like, okay, that ball shouldn't connect, and the ball actually connected. And I was like, dude, I don't know if this guy shoots like mini grenades or if he shoots like a planet, because sometimes those orbs can feel like a planet, dude. So right character need a nerf, but the worst area to nerf him. This hurts his mobility, this hurts his combo potential, which are arguably the skillful part of the character. And we just keep the power in the neutral aspect of the gameplay where you just spam right playstyle. It's incredibly annoying. Terrible change, really wrong direction. And out of every character that's meta right now, I don't think Junk need a nerf. Crazy to me. Reaper. Now you guys know that I made the video for Reaper. The Reaper is actually one of the best performing DPS. I appreciate the fact that they didn't remove his spread, but my personal suggestion was that Reaper should have 275 HP and not 300, because breakpoints and things like that. Their approach is to reduce the lifesteal. Overall, I think the Reaper change is okay, but personally I would have adjusted the HP bar to help with breakpoints against certain matchups, because seriously it can feel oppressive as hell to fight against a Reaper with 300 plus HP. The lifesteal is probably being adjusted to help out the way he feels with the tighter spread, so it's okay. Like, again, like, just not the areas I would have nerfed either of these characters, so I don't know. This is a bit awkward. Tracer getting her recall cooldown reduced by 1 second. It's become obvious that Tracer is not necessarily the best pick right now, and there's a lot of reasons for that. And they clearly want to give her some power, and they're deciding to do that through recall. I will hold off my judgment for a little bit, but this has the potential. This does have a little bit of potential to take over the game. It fully depends on how the meta shapes out to be, okay? This is where things begin to get awkward. So, support. Ana has gotten her breakpoints back, okay? Against most targets, against most 225 HP targets, Ana can 3-shot combo them again, right? So she's gotten her damage and then a healing increase to 75 instead of 80, right? Before she had 80, then they dropped it to 70. Now it's at the middle ground of 75. So progressively, per patch, supports have been seeing as a role buffs, right? Don't forget that Mercy got the healing increase to 60 as well. This is crazy. This is genuinely crazy. Okay, moving on to Juno, right? Juno is a top tier support, and they say that she was overperforming last season, and Orbital Ray is one of those cases. So they've increased the alt cost by 10. Okay, here's my blistering hot take. Yes, Orbital Ray is like coming up very fast, and we need to deal with that for sure. But the strength of Juno is actually in those homing missile rockets that they buffed when Juno came to life. And that is the one area of her kit that they do not want to nerf. In my personal opinion, if Juno is still meta, one of the best supports after everything that's been said and done, nerf her rockets, and put the power back into her weapon and the damage and healing numbers. Because it's absurd. She was literally perfect when they gave us Juno as a trial. But then in release, they were just kind of like, yeah, you know, by the way, all the things that you like about this character, we're just going to change it up for no reason. It's incredibly annoying. Now, this is where things get, again, concerning. Kiriko has been buffed 3 times. So her kunai's recovery time has been decreased from 0.55 to 0.5. Swift Step's cooldown has been reduced. And then the biggest offender, Suzu's cooldown has gone down to 14 seconds. Now, they have a very valid argument that Kiriko's HP going down to 225 has made her weaker. Although arguably, not only does she have Swift Step, but she can also wall climb. She also has Suzu to protect herself. She also has one of the smallest hitboxes in the game. Has a lot of things going for her. The weird thing in here as well is technically she saw a DPS increase. So the kunai recovery time, for those of you that don't know what this means, it basically means she'll be shooting the next kunai faster. So in an overall second, right, she'll be able to slide in 2 kunais in 1 second, right? When you try this, you can feel it. You can feel like, oh, I'm shooting a little bit faster than before, right? You can feel it in your muscle memory and everything. Now, I'm open-minded to the kunai change. I'm open-minded to the Swift Steps change, but this protection Suzu change is extremely awkward. Because it's kind of like, what are we doing here? Kiriko is not necessarily a bad support either. It's just like, it's not her meta. Like, Juno is just doing everything Kiriko used to do, but a little bit better now. So see, if you balance out Juno, and especially also at the same time, like, Brigitte on the side, Kiriko kind of comes back. It's crazy. It's like almost if you nerf AoE healing in the game, single target healing, because Kiriko technically is mostly single target, these type of characters will begin to come back, right? It's crazy to me that they just don't learn their lesson about, AoE healing, but I digress. Regardless, these are concerning changes. Like, this protection Suzu is really... I don't know. I don't know what's going through their mind. And it only gets worse from here. So Lifeweaver has been Gigabuffed. And he's just like one more buff. I think now I can safely say he's one more buff away from becoming meta. And you do not want to do this with characters that are played at the skill floor. That have pretty much no skill ceiling. Life Grip's cooldown has gone down by 1. And the healing has been increased to 75 from 50. And this is okay. Like if it was just this, it's like, yeah, okay, makes sense. This is where things get concerning. Now, the Tree of Life, the time before the overhealth begins to drain away, when you're outside of the tree's range, has been increased from 2.5 to 6 seconds. Actually, the total time that it takes is 8 seconds. So it takes 6 seconds for this passive to trigger, and then it takes a total 2 to 3 seconds for the overhealth, depending on the character, to completely wear off, implying that you've not taken damage. This is extremely concerning, because Weaver can alone cause a 𝐒𝐿𝐻 meta. This is really concerning. I am not a fan of this change at all. I do not understand why are we trying to push Weaver into a spot like this. And this is why I've said this game is not a competitive game. It is a semi-casual, semi-competitive game. And they're just balancing for the sake of balancing to mess around. They don't actually have goals on what they want their characters to be. Right? This is why the Kiriko changes. This is why Kiriko has been changed the way she is. They don't have a vision for her. They don't have okay, this is the spot we want Kiriko to be. No. They will change it. That's why it's so awkward. Same thing with Weaver. There's no vision for the character. It's like, no, we will change it. He's not a 50% pick rate, like 50% win rate. Like, we want it to be changed. It's so weird. This is by far the worst change in the game. This is by far the worst change I've ever seen. So the def comment is Moira wasn't that adversely affected by 225. So she's not been that affected by 225 because she can survive very well. And then out of nowhere, they're like, yeah, but anyways, so we're just going to like increase her survivability even more, even though she's not that affected. And her self-healing has gone up. This is ridiculous. Moira has been getting buff after buff after buff after buff these past few patches. The support power creep is real. Enough is enough. In tomorrow's video, or maybe a double upload later today, I will be personally addressing all the support power creep. There has been an insane support power creep in the past few patches. While tank has also been kind of power crept up and down depending on what they want to do. DPS has been mostly nerfed and effed around with. Support as a role has been getting insane power creep. And I'm sick and tired of sitting here and seeing nobody talk about it. Nobody's talking about the support power creep. None of the big content creators are talking about it. Because nobody gives a shit about the game anymore. I still give a shit about the game. So either later today or tomorrow's video, we are going to talk about the support power creep. Enough is enough. With that being said, see you guys in the next video.